If this mindset persists with a majority of voters, you are setting yourself up for another failure.
What we want is a better Nigeria.
Not everybody wants a better Nigeria. A lot of people don't want a better Nigeria. We're actually not doing what you're saying. We're not building anything from the bottom up. You may not have experienced Nigeria leadership. I've experienced 7 presidents, from Babangida to the one who is there now, Buhari. They are not even qualified to be local government chairman of any nation, including Nigeria. Some of these countries you mentioned were run by young people. But you leave your own country to be run by analog thinkers. And I could also be a local government guy in the US or an activist, a community activist like Obama was.
If I were governor of Lagos State, that's not small for me.
As president of Nigeria, it's small for me.
In my opinion, excellent governor of Enugu State.
So I want us to go on vacation to Enugu State and drive on a road built by Sullivan that is 100 kilometers.
Okay.
The FCT under Rufa, under anybody, the FCT we are in today.
No, but my point
is still a glorified slum.
Yes.
I've covered all these regimes you are mentioning.
Yeah, I'm not saying
these are superficial achievements they're not perfect, but they should not even be talked about in terms of governance.
The citizens of Nigeria is doing well or has done well.
None that I know of. I mean, if that would be the case, half of Nigerian young people would not be trying to get out of the country. Nigeria is probably the only place where you can find street lights, powered by generators. So you can't find, for instance, a governor in the US who has a hype man saying, as it is sweet us, he did. That's like a joke. I've never seen a governor in the US who asked people to come and commission roads. Sierra Leone and Liberia that went through war that were stopped by Nigerian soldiers, are doing better in a lot of ways than we are doing today. Because I didn't just pop up
in the
last
years. That's why I said 20 years.
I didn't pop up in the last 20 years. Yeah. When I was fighting for democracy in 1992, I wasn't looking for Ondo State democracy. I don't have such an ambition to be governor of a state that is driving around convoys of cars more than tractors. I don't know what Aisha's ambition is, but it doesn't mean that because we join hands at a protest that we have the same focus,
of course, that's not what
direction. What I see this conversation doing is putting me in a box. I don't belong in any box.
No, that's not
your position that you may not become what you. That's fine. If I don't get to become Nigeria's president, it doesn't end it.
So keep limitations aside, right? I think the argument also goes to the fact that there are top-down approaches, there are bottom-up approaches, right? In every country that has become what she is today, or in most developed countries, what you see is a bottom-up approach where whether it's the local governments or the local councils or the states, whether, for example, in America, a perfect example is America, that practices a true federal system of government, not what you have in Nigeria, right? Where even in Florida, whether it's in New York, whether it's in Oregon, whatever state you are, those governors are determine what even goes on in their states. The president can be whoever the president can be. It could be Biden, it could be Trump. But so long as you have for example, look at COVID and look at the role that DeSantis played in Florida. Compare that with other states like New York and other states. You see the importance of local leadership in a true federalism, in a country that practices that system. UK can be another example of where you have the importance of local councils. So these are bottom-up approaches that show you that if you have good leaders at that local level, look at, for example, London today. Compare London to what London was in the past. So you can see that at those levels, people can really make great differences or great positive. I'm not saying that.
So your whole argument is that except you go through those.
No, I'm not.
So if it's not, then you also look at another trans of argument. Which is that the London you're talking about, the Spain you're talking about, Dubai you're talking about, that we all love to showcase. They came from the ideas of people who don't think small. You understand? That did not eliminate or would not eliminate a local government council chairman who loved to ride on a bike. It also does not limit a guy in the UK who feels that the London skyline is too drab, and they started this idea of building skyscrapers that are energy efficient, that makes London look better than it used to be. They could be architects, they could be builders, they could be people who just form ideas and give it to people who can implement them. So, but why we are different here is that we have so much to cover. And what we have done wrong is that we're actually not doing what you're saying. We're not building anything from the bottom up. We allow the worst to get the best position in this country. You can't point to me, I don't know, you may not have experienced Nigerian leadership. I've experienced 7 presidents in my lifetime, starting from the 80s. 1989 was when I got to the university, up to now. And I can tell you that all the 7 presidents I've experienced, from Babangida to the one who is there now, Buhari, they're not even qualified to be local government chairman of any nation, including Nigeria. So when you keep pushing the argument that you must go and start small, you are creating space for those who don't know anything who starts big. That's my argument. You have not also mentioned or considered the issue of age, the age of ideas, and that some of these countries you mentioned were run by young people. You know, at their formative age. But you leave your own country to be run by analog thinkers. And these other countries you're talking about are run by people who have digital, you know, brains almost, who have the capacity to implement. And all those people spend most of their time in the hospitals they built in the UK. So the argument for me is superfluous. That somehow a guy who did not play for Enyimba, you know, cannot play for Liverpool. It doesn't make the argument, you know, standard for me, and that's why I'm not struggling with you over it. I'm just saying that there is no law in the world that says that I must go and start from Ondo State when I have the capacity to run Nigeria.
I think it depends on
the other arguments on the side of like, oh, Nigeria is complex. It has been defeated. The size of Nigeria, the entire geographical size of Nigeria, is not up to that of Alaska.
Well, you have
and there are 50. There are 50 states in the U.S. I wanted to bring that to correct some of your own arguments. That if I'm governor of Alaska, so they have more resources at my disposal. I have a bigger state than Nigeria. They have task codes. I'm able to get a lot of things done. And I can still do it and aspire to be president of the U.S. Or I can decide I don't even want to be president of the U.S. And I can also be a local government guy in the U.S. or an activist, a community activist like Obama was, who was senator for just a few months and became president, because there is nothing that says a guy who was never a local government chairman or a governorship candidate cannot be president of a country. That has been established over the years in several climes, in several jurisdictions and political spaces across the world. So if you keep arguing that if someone hasn't been local government chairman of Ondo South local government and then ultimately become the governorship the governor of Ondo State, and then if you want to keep that argument going, then he must go from there to become a senator of his Ondo West before he's then qualified to be president. Those arguments should not even come up in the modern discussion of political future of this country and any country for that matter, because the argument doesn't follow. Those people who have done all of this, you can have no record to trace to them that anyone can be proud of.
I think it depends on what you define as small. So, for example, if I were governor of Lagos State, that's not small for me.
As president of Nigeria, it's small for me. Nigeria is small for my kind of ideas. I'm serious.
No, then why go for it then? But you get my argument, right? My argument depends on what you define as. So, for example, I'll point you to, for example, Enugu State under Sullivan Shime, right? In my opinion, excellent governor of Enugu State.
So I want us to go on vacation to Enugu State and drive on a road built by Sullivan that is 100 kilometers.
Okay, that's
still alive, still there, functioning.
How about
I want us to take our children and go back to Enugu State and put them in schools.
How about FCT under El-Rufai then?
The FCT under El-Rufai, under anybody, is the FCT we are in today.
No, but my point
is still a glorified slum.
Yes, but my point is the roads that were built under El-Rufai, the development strides that were made under El-Rufai. Okay, go to Wike, for example, in River State. Wike.
Do you know that I cover all these people? Like I've covered all these regimes you are mentioning.
Yeah, I'm not saying
these are superficial achievements that they're not perfect, but they should not even be they should not even be talked about in terms of governance. You understand?
Yeah.
Do you know that in the university when I was in the US doing my master's degree in public administration, we had to study cities, you know, by mayors that you have never heard about before, including New York City. We compare mayors. We also study police departments.
Yes.
And how they reform them. You know, the only thing you can study about Nigeria is corruption.
Yeah.
In any school, even in Nigerian schools, you cannot pick out a city or a state by any of these governors since 1999 and be studying them. And somebody will not think there's something wrong with you.
So there is nobody since 1999 you can point to.
You have pointed to you have pointed to some of them that I know did not perform.
So, but who in your opinion, out of the citizens of Nigeria is doing well or has done well?
None that I know of. I mean, if that would be the case, half of Nigerian young people would not be trying to get out of the country.
I think I disagree with you.
That's fine. That's fine. But
but
you also must ensure that in disagreeing, you have an alternative view that shows that somebody has done quality work, quality enough, for you to say, "Wow, there's a city in Nigeria that I can compare to a city."
How about Akwa Ibom then?
I've been to Akwa Ibom. These are just one street capital cities.
I think
you understand.
I've been to Akwa Ibom as well. I've been to Akwa Ibom.
There are a variety of indices that you use in calculating governance.
Yeah.
It's not just one highway.
Of course,
and a bunch of street lights that are powered by a generator. In fact, that's an anathema. Nigeria is probably the only place where you can find street lights, powered by generators. In other climes, street lights, if they can't be powered by the national grid, they'll be powered by solar energy, But if they have solar energy grid, maybe you do one or two, the rest is generator. It's just superficial. So, and this is why the argument of, for an urgent need of real leadership is important, so that you can have parameters to judge leaders with, not perceptions.
No, I agree.
So you can't find, for instance, a governor in the US who has a hype man saying, as it is, we toss, he did. That's like a joke. I've never seen a governor in the US who asks people to come and commission a road. I'm serious. When a road is done, the way to commission it, so allow people driving on top.
Yeah, I agree.
So if you cut out all the rubbish these people do, you will know that these guys are just clowns in terms of God. And that's why we're where we are today. We don't need to look too far. It is by the quality of leaders or leadership in the country that you determine why a country is in a particular state. It's such that Sierra Leone and Liberia that went through war that were stopped by Nigerian soldiers are doing better in a lot of ways than we are doing today. So if you want to judge Nigeria, just close your eyes, tell the truth, and let the devil be ashamed. This is Sunday.
Yeah, the reason why I stayed on this for the amount of time I did was there are millions of people who look up to you all over Nigeria and all over the world, right? I think I will compare you with people like Deji Adeya Onjiwa and Aisha Yeshifu as people that are true believers in their cause, by people that you can buy with money, people that have been consistent for the past 20 plus years in speaking the same message, no matter whose ox is God, right? And the fear is that you're 51 years old, right?
Yes.
Yeah. The fear is that as time goes on, as things happen in Nigeria, you may never get to lead Nigeria and, God forbid, die without having these ideas implemented by yourself. Someone else obviously will take up these ideas, but I mean you yourself, right? The fear that myself and people that really admire you is that time is not on your side. Perhaps you have, and you always rally against old leaders, right? You don't want to become who you've always been fighting against.
This
is why I keep going to the fight, because state is much easier.
I think you're looking at me from the point of ambition. My ambition in life, right? And maybe you want to delve into my history a little bit, because I didn't just pop up.
No, that's what in the last years. That's why I said 20 years.
I didn't pop up in the last 20 years. I've been around for 3 decades. You understand?
Yeah.
When I was fighting for democracy in 1992, I wasn't looking for Ondo State democracy. When I went to jail when I was in my 20s, I wasn't looking for my local government type of democracy. Otherwise I would have just finished university, not participate in one single protest, graduate, go to do my NYC, and go back to my loved Ondo State. I won't have a broken nose. I won't have the injuries I have today. I won't be missing my family if I was only interested in a limited space of development. And you raise the issue of ambition. I don't have such an ambition to be governor of a state that is driving around convoys of cars more than tractors, just so that I can prove that I came to this country to become a governor, and I have now become a governor, and I'm fine, and maybe now I can be president. No, that's not the idea. The idea is to change narratives, is to change minds, and to power a higher level of understanding that a country like this could work if good people get involved and don't shy away from taking on responsibilities and taking on ambitions that sometimes people feel like is bigger than them. The idea of fighting for democracy was bigger than a 22-year-old in 1993. And I stuck my head out. I was willing to go. I went through hell. I was almost killed in the process. And when the country wasn't working, some 30 years later, I'm still doing the same thing. So my ambition has never been limited the way you are describing it. And I don't know what Deji Adeyanju's ambition is in life. I don't know what Aisha's ambition is. But it doesn't mean that because we join hands at a protest that we have the same focus,
of course, that's not what
direction or ambition in life. I respect all of them. And I've worked with all these people you mentioned and a lot more of them. But I'm not, what I see this conversation doing is putting me in a box. I don't belong in any boxes.
No, that's not. That's
to
not
the
what
point
I want
that we're spending 1 hour discussing why we should not
even 1 hour,
why we should not go past those states.
Not even enter. My point is that it's not just about yourself, right?
Because your position that you may not become what you that's fine. If I don't get to become Nigeria's president, it doesn't end it. If one of the ideas I believe in could bring about the change that I've always preached about, I'm fine. You understand? By the time Nelson Mandela was out of prison, he had a different idea about the South Africa he wanted. Most of you don't know why he didn't come back a second time. Because that South Africa that he had at the back of his mind wasn't unraveling in front of him the way he wanted it. And he stepped aside and let new sets of people carry on. But he remained a statesman until there are people who never governed a space in Nigeria's history that are more respected than those who did 3 times. Obasanjo and Awolowo, for instance. Obasanjo led Nigeria 3 times now. As a military guy and as a civilian for 2 terms. People in this part of the world respect Awolowo, who never became president, more than they respect Obasanjo. At least I know from my own analysis of how people rate both of them. So you leave me to worry about how old I get before I become the governor of the chairman of the local government. That is not my worry. My worry is to make sure that in my lifetime or after my lifetime, I did my best for my country, and that nobody should be limited, including yourself, your children, anybody in the future, to say, well, some people are designed to lead Nigeria, whether they know what they are doing or not, and others should go and start small.
I don't think that's. I don't
personally don't find that
I don't think
to
that's
be
the point I'm trying to get across.
to be
The point
a
I'm
way
trying
to look at this.
The point I'm trying to get across is that is the fact that it's much easier for you.
It's not. There's
win.
nothing easy for a person who has
So what
a
do
good
you,
agenda.
what do you rate your chances as next year?
I'm not rating my chances.
Okay.
And I'm not taking chances. I'm in it for what I believe will bring an end to the misery that this country has been associated with. You understand? So many people, including yourself, might be this whole argument or conversation we're having might be driven by your love for my ideas, my person, to the point that you are frustrated that, look, these guys may never make it because they are not the right, not that we're not the right kind of people, but the the operational space is not for the right kind of people. That might be your worry, but that's not my worry.
Yeah, but
my worry is that you are going to, this kind of mindset is going to push all of us into another bundungo.
I don't think
that
so.
will last longer than another forever. And then we'll now be looking for people with ideas to come and save us.
Yeah, I think
it's not that we will.
Yeah.
We will be looking for. If this mindset persists with a majority of voters, you are setting yourself up for another failure. And I guarantee you, I will be generous to sit with you another year from now and review it, and you'll be like, wow.
No, the issue,
if we don't get it right.
No, the issue is this, right? What we want is a better Nigeria.
Not everybody wants a better Nigeria.
So not better. Great Nigeria.
That is an assumption.
That's what most rational thinking Nigerians,
that's an assumption.
Average.
A lot of people don't want a better Nigeria.
So, but most people are not happy with what we are seeing in Nigeria
exactly.
today.
And so if you're not happy, you should go for the best.
Yes, but to achieve that end goal, right? There are numerous ways that we can use to achieve that end goal.
That is your own belief.
Not just my own belief, right?
That's your own belief in the sense that there are multifarious ways to solve the Nigeria problem. Yes. And that might be true. But you cannot dissipate your energy trying to fix a problem that has one direct solution first. And you go it's just like taking a destination. You want to go to Anambra. You're going to get on a plane going to Ghana. And you say, well, it's because I want to check from Ghana if Anambra is safe first. Yeah. So when you now decide to start going to Anambra, you still have to fly back to Lagos. Yeah. And then fly to, instead of just going directly to Anambra. This is what they call circumlocution in science. Plenty of motion, no movement.